None of my being a top flight anything is important to you per se, but by me being Rosebud, the motherfucker, then you with the knowledge that I'm now a professor with a goddamn school, that's of interest to many people. What makes it interesting is the why of it all. Why has had an allure to it since the beginning of time. And you need to understand that. Scholarly men and women have always seen it as a topic to discuss, to debate, and to theorize about. My speaking of how good of a person I am or the changes I've made most likely means nothing to you. But I'll bet my last dollar a lot of you want to know why I retired. Most of you didn't want to accept that it's really true. And I'm sure a lot of that is because I'm always, or I was always, on social media or some platform on somebody's case about this pimping, or in most cases, mispimping. What I mean is, from my earliest memories, for some reason, I always wanted to be important. For me, being the center of attention was not enough. I had to be special in my own way. I don't mean special because I got special treatment. I didn't want any treatment other than what I deserved because I knew I would deserve special. I have always been a standout in sports and just about anything that I pursued. I was in the higher echelon of it. I grew up competing and losing to all my brothers, even my younger brother. And through it all, I really wanted to be a well known person. I didn't especially want to be an entertainer, but that would have been cool. It would have worked. I certainly didn't want to be no kind of political figure or any leader, but I did have a great thirst to be an important person. I don't really know where that thirst began, but if anyone influenced me in that direction, it was my dad, Clint Dixon Sr. He was quite a well known figure in the city of Vallejo where I grew up. He had a lot to do with how the city survived, but he was not a politician. He never ran for any office, but the major players of the city, from the mayor to the police chief down to the city councilman, all would seek him out. They wanted his advice on things concerning the citizens or politics of Vallejo. And my father was truly a great father. He was low key, but when somebody had an idea to make the community better, they came to Pops. And if the idea was sound, somehow him and his connections would make it happen. When he passed, the Mason stood guard over his body.